So you have asthma, but you also want to be a runner. Maybe you grew into asthma and you've been a runner your entire life and now asthma is just kicking your butt. Or maybe you've had asthma since birth like me and you discovered David Goggins and you're like, you know what, I really want to get into running. I really want to get into ultra running, but how the heck do I do it? Because I have asthma, I've never been able to run more than a mile. What do I do? Either way, today I'm going to give you 5 tips of how to run with asthma and be successful. But first, I have my healthy living guide. It's linked right below this video. It talks about the 3 pillars of healthy living that have helped me not only lose 30 pounds in 90 days, but keep the weight off and become an ultra athlete with asthma. Go grab my free guide. It'll take you less than 3 minutes to read and start implementing into your life. So my first tip for you, if you are running with asthma, if you're getting into it for the first time, or maybe you've been doing it for a while and you're struggling, is you really need a warm up, okay? Warming up is huge. Now, a warm up could literally be walking. Okay, I have another video I talk about my 3 favorite types of runs. You can do something called a run walk or a walk run. Either way, a warm up could literally just be walking. I always walk at the beginning of my runs. Beginning of a marathon, I'll walk like half a mile and then start running the marathon. You gotta get the heart rate moving slowly, okay? At a slow pace. You don't wanna just go and run right away. You wanna get the blood flowing. You wanna get your lungs warmed up. So do a warm up, at the very least walk. If you wanna get crazy, then walk and do dynamic stretching. I don't always do this. At least now. When I first really got into running, I was doing dynamic stretching before every run. What dynamic stretching is it's when you're walking and throwing a stretch in. That could be a quad stretch. It could be a lunge, etc. You're just warming up your body. So that's my first tip with running with asthma. And this may just be, maybe you have asthma, maybe you have exercise-induced asthma. Either way, I recommend doing a warm-up when you're running with asthma. Now remember, I'm not a healthcare professional, so you need to discuss all of these things with your healthcare professional before doing these things. I have a disclaimer right here. It's also in the description of this video. Second thing, you need to take it slow. This is my second tip. Take it slow. Another thing I did when I first started running is I tried to run as fast as possible. I guess it somewhat depends on what your goals are, but if you go out and you run and you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna sprint, you know how your asthma is gonna handle it. Your asthma is most likely gonna flare up. For me, it does. I have to not only warm up, I gotta take it slow, and I gotta start slow, get slower, and then if I really want to ramp things up, I can. But I need to take it slow. And I need to take it slow for a while. When I ran my 50-mile race last year, I took it slow for the first half of it. Like, we're talking a full marathon, I took it slow. When I do a long run, my favorite type of runs is long runs between 14 and 18 miles. I take it slow for like 2 to 3 miles. Okay, a long run, I mean, that's like, what, 20% of the run? So you need to take it slow, not just your pace, but you gotta take it like really slow at the beginning. So these kind of are in conjunction, but a warm-up is different from taking it slow. Taking it slow means when I start any race, I'm running at like, for me, 11-minute pace is pretty slow right now. So that's where I start. And then even if I'm doing interval training in a day, I'm gonna at least do half a mile to a mile at my 11-minute pace. And then, if I'm doing interval training, I can get to that, 7-minute pace. But if we're breaking down a run, I'm probably spending, even like an interval training run, I'm probably spending a mile here, and maybe 2 to 3 miles here. And then I may even cap it with another half mile to a mile here. To a mile. So you want to take it slow. Especially if you're just starting. If you're just starting, you probably want to run your slow pace, 11, 12 minutes, whatever, for as long as possible in that run. My third tip, don't be afraid to walk. Be afraid to walk. Just thank yourself and be grateful for being out there, okay? When I was training for my first marathon, and as I train for any of my long runs, I tend to walk. I don't walk the whole thing, but if I feel like I need to walk, I walk. And I am not hard on myself about it. So if you are like, well, Johnny, I can't even run a mile. So if I go out there and run 2 blocks and then walk, is that okay? Yes, it is okay. All right. If you want to go out for a run, you start, your asthma flares up and you're like, God, I don't think I can run, but I can walk, and do that. It's all about the movement, which is one of the 3 pillars in my Healthy Living Guide. You can go grab it below. I also have my ebook, 7 Days of Meals and Movement. You can grab that as well. But don't be afraid to walk. This is huge. When I ran 50 miles last year, I probably walked 10 of the 50. 5 to 10 of the 50. Kind of a blur, man. That was a hard day. I'm running 100K this year, and probably same thing. I'll probably walk 5 to 10 of those miles. It's okay to walk. Number 4, always focus on breath. Always. Focus on breath. Now, depending on how your asthma flares up and what works for you, you may have to try different things. But for me, when I'm in a run and I'm like, oh God, I'm trying to catch my breath, I'm like struggling. It can be hard to focus on breath. What I do is, instead of focusing on the whole breath, the inhale and the exhale, I just focus on the exhale. So I focus on, and then I automatically start inhaling better. So I just focus on the exhale. I call this locomotive breathing, actually, and you just focus on the exhale. You're like, now make sure that you're not breathing too fast. You want to slow down your breathing, but focus on the breath. Just come back to it. And if you need to walk, if you need to take some time and walk so you can focus on the breath, please do that. Please do that. It's all about getting out there and moving. Even if you're only running for a little bit of it and you're running slow for it, that's okay. Lastly, you always want to do a cool down and stretch. For me, when I played soccer growing up, a lot of times my asthma wouldn't hit me in the middle of a game. When I started, it would. It hit me all the time. But when I got really good and I built up my endurance, it didn't hit me during a game, but it would hit me after. It hit me when my heart rate was coming back down, or I would stop and it would hit me. You gotta cool down, you gotta stretch. This is not only good for your asthma, it's good for your body. It's good for you the next time you want to take a run. By cooling down, by going back to that slow pace, or even a slower pace, by walking, don't afraid to walk. You should end every run with a walk. Even if it's a short walk, you need to do a cool down. And then stretch. Habit stack. Try and habit stack a 3-minute stretch, a 5-minute stretch after your run. These are my 5 tips. I do these every single run I take. Every single run I take, I do this. And yes, I walk every single run I take. I either walk at the beginning or I walk at the end. And there's times when I walk in the middle. It is what it is. We're all human. Do what makes you feel safe. That's the important thing about all this. Feel safe. Run, enjoy it, feel safe. grab that healthy living guide, 3 pillars, right below this video. Thank you for the likes and subscribes.